Welcome to the Grief Bully Podcast. I am your host, Jay Nicole. Thank you for joining our weekly discussion around grief, mental health, and your overall personal wellness. The Grief Bully Podcast will serve as a vehicle to help you navigate life's journey. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share the podcast with anyone in your life that you think it will help. Let's bully grief together. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Grief Bully Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Nicole. Guys, we are back in the building, rocking and rolling for another episode. And we're going to do things a little different today. We're just going to have an open dialogue, open conversation about something that I've been thinking about. And I wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm not by myself today. I do have Devin Wade in the building with me to kind of toss this conversation back and forth. I'll probably lead most of it because, well, I am the grief bully.
Yeah, the expert.
The expert. So I have this troubling thought. I do a lot of driving in my car. I'm commuting a lot, pretty frequently. And I actually have to go to a funeral soon or have gone to a funeral, depending on the time that you listen to this. And I started thinking about the person, and it wasn't so much about him specifically, but it was about his last Facebook post. Really started to throw me off, and it wasn't just that it threw me off what he wrote. It threw me off that it took so long for it to throw me off. So this is going to make sense in a second. Okay. So someone I know, I'm not going to say his name out of respect and anonymity for his family. It's a very difficult time, but his last post was actually said, I woke up to this and I saw this and I'm like, okay, this is kind of a lot. So it says, good morning, good people. My life has been blessed over the years. The love I got for all my peoples over the years. My fight is over soon. As a Capricorn, my stubborn ex said not yet. But now my time is up. I'm so thankful for the realizationships I have built. Keep my family in your prayers. I'm going home. Much love and respect. So, with that being said, I was thinking two things. One was we're at a place now where unfortunately things like that have become, I guess, more common. And then meaning putting death or experiences or whatever someone's going through, just emotionals, your feelings and where you are, more of a norm that we see it and maybe can scroll past it a little less affected or impacted how we may have been in the past. That's one part of it. And the second part of it is for me to see someone that I know and that I care about and that I've had good times with, and then their family and his ex-wife or his girl or child's mother to be someone that I love and care about dearly. I'm like, wow, he's writing a Facebook post saying that I am about to die. Thank you, everybody, for the relationships that we had. I'm going home. It was like, when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, wow, that took my breath away. But then I didn't think too much beyond it. I focused more on the fact that he passed away, because he has since passed away just a few days after that. And it really took me back. But then I was driving thinking like, that was pretty crazy. And I don't know how we as a society or as people are reacting to that anymore. Like, is it just like, oh yeah, another person's dying, oh, just this death is happening, where I feel like if this was like many years ago, or if someone sent you a message or wrote you a letter, put it like that, if someone mailed you something to your house, right, and was like, hey, I'm going to be dying in a couple of days, so thank you for everything, like, that's kind of scary. I mean, I know I said a lot, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there because it's been weighing on my mind and it's a very recent thing. But what's your thoughts?
I mean, in this situation, it sounds like this person was sick.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So I should say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's an important part, because we see messages like that that have nothing to do with a person being sick, about them being tired of life, basically suicide letters and things like that as well. I think, in a sense, it might be a blessing that a person gets to leave a message to people. I think that it might be something that is able to give people closure, because one of the things that we worry about a lot when we lose our people is if they were ready to go. So you know, you don't like the idea of your mom passing, your father, brother, sister, whoever, and they really don't want to go. That's why a lot of times family members will tell you, I'm okay. I'm ready, you know? And this is that person kind of extending that to friends, but not, I mean, family, but not just family, but friends. And I think it brings a lot of comfort to people, and I think they know that as well. And they want to make sure that nothing was unsaid, because those are the regrets people have. Definitely on the living end, the people that continue to live, but that some people might, we don't know what happens after death. Everybody's got different opinions on
Sure.
that, but I'm sure if there's a life after death, that there's people that say, I wish I would have conveyed this message. So in a sense, it's actually a good thing to me.
No, listen, I respect that opinion. And I think, too, like if you've been following the catalog or know a little bit more about the show, a lot of times I'll have like solo rounds where I'm just kind of talking and openly expressing myself. And that's a little bit about that, is where I'm working through something that I've often experienced or have recently experienced. And I was just like, I'm sad that he passed. Don't get me wrong. But it didn't like shake me as much as in the past things like that have. So I kind of stopped myself and I'm like, hold on. Like, where's my sensitivity level with this, or where's my threshold, the capacity to be able to actually scroll and like, I literally was scrolling the other day and I saw that someone said someone in their life died, and I was like, oh man, like that's sad. Wish them. And I just kept it, you kind of just keep scrolling, because of course if it's not your personal person, or if it's not a direct impact, I totally understand, but it's just still so much that it's unbelievable. Just the other day too, there was an Eid celebration for the Muslim community in Philadelphia, and 15 to 21-year-olds are shooting at this event. And so it's just like, wow, like the regard for life, the regard for those kind of things. For me, I was shocked, because I do consider myself an empathetic person, of how shocked I wasn't.
So I was going to bring that up, actually, that it also could depend on where you live, meaning there's always going to be natural causes, death. We all got to die sometime, right? But if you're from a place where you add something like murder, there's places where murder isn't as normal, right? So that's when you talk to people and they say, I've never known anyone that got killed, or I've never known anyone, like, I don't even know anyone that died, like my grandpa died or
Right.
something. But if you're used to the worst death, which is murder, and we see that on our feed every single day, and there's always somebody that lives in a 10-mile radius, right? Literally, it's this person's dead, this person's dead. And these are people that you may be friends with on social media, so you've seen some of their
That's true.
life, you've seen them with their kids, you've seen them with their grandma, to celebrity. I don't even want to use the word celebrities. I say popular people in the city, because we've had local but known rappers murdered recently. I think that, on top of the regular feed of seeing someone's grandma passed or whatever, I think that does make it desensitize and make it easier for a person to scroll by. Your dad died of cancer, because they just scrolled by someone was shot 4 times.
Right. And that's my thing. I don't know. In some regards, I feel like it's good. Absolutely. But in other regards, I feel like it's difficult, because if we have adopted that level of desensitizing, then when someone really is struggling with a loss in their life, I wonder how it gets downplayed, because I'm so used to seeing this on a phone, on a screen. So now that I see it in person, this is real raw emotion from someone that I'm supposed to be supporting, or at least they're coming to me for an attempt to support. You just might not have that button, that capacity to go in, because you're just, this is like, where does that, so let me tell you this. So toddlers, don't judge me guys, but I'm a very, very, very minimal screen time parent. And I didn't even know why I was trying to do that. So I had to research, like, well, what is the problem with the screen time? Why is that? And one of the things is that on the screen is not the real pace that life goes. So if a cartoon is going like zoom, 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 like Coco Melon and things like that, they're going so fast. And in real life, that's not how it's happening. And the kid can't distinguish the fact that that's not real and this is. So a lot of it plays that way. So I'm kind of extending that here where it's like, well, you're seeing all this online. So then when it's happening to you in real life, real time, where you can touch the person, maybe you don't have that capacity to distinguish between the two. And so now we're coming off kind of reserved, not really shaken by, oh, you just, because I was on the phone with someone that I love and I told them that someone else I know just recently was diagnosed with cancer. And then that person just like went to a different part in the conversation. And I had to say, hold on. I really said this. I was like, you do know that I just said that this person was diagnosed with cancer. And it wasn't, this is a loving person as well that I was saying it to. But it's like that filter, I don't know, it's kind of bothering me right now a little bit.
100% sure that it's a desensitized thing, but that also it would have to be a defense mechanism, a natural defense mechanism. Imagine if you did feel the true weight of every death around you in the way you would have felt it back then, even somebody giving you that news. How depressed would the people of our community be if they had to carry around all the news from their feed, regular life, people at the job, and they really were caring? That would be pure depression. My son, he grew up in the time of the cell phone. He watched a bunch of his rappers and people that he would like want a poster of. Mm-hmm. He watched their death. Mm. So it's going to change something in him in the way that he looks at it. It's just like those kids aren't as bent out of shape as a kid in 1996 when Tupac was killed. Thanks. Or when Biggie was killed in 97 when Aaliyah died, and how
that was a hurt
piece.
Like, yeah, Aaliyah that was a strong.
I was like I lost a person that I really knew, right? My son, I'm watching where that thing is almost dissolved down to nothing. If even if it's a celebrity to look up to, it's kind of like, yo, that's crazy. Yo, and then after that, it's just, oh yeah, we getting on Call of Duty, bro. Back to
yeah, I mean, but so I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's kind of scary because then take it a step further. If we're not impacted that much, then there is just so many different subjects in my brain that have to do with this, and I'm just trying to decipher between it because then it's like, what's that value on a person's life? And this is the thing, I don't really want people to be like sad. So I'm not in the argument that we should be moping around. I have a friend that processes grief, what I would say, fairly well. She actually said this to me, that I was like, you need to come on a show and share a part of your story, because she had a pretty traumatic death that happened in her life. And she was like, I don't really get that bogged down and hurt and bothered by death because of her perspectives on life. And some people fully are on board, or at least 95%, that it's like, this is a part of life and this is going to happen. So me falling apart, letting it control me, what is that going to really do? And the crying. So the reason why I'm an advocate for it is only because I always can just speak from my seat and my perspective. When I release these emotions and I'm able to outwardly process it, whether that's crying, writing Facebook, social media posts, I feel better. Because if I was just carrying around all of these deaths that's going on and all stuff and never communicating about it, I don't know. It seems like it would be very difficult, but everybody's different. So
I think it goes back to something that we talk about sometimes, emotional intelligence, and how that needs to be taught. Really what it is, the basic word for it is manners, right? You're talking to somebody, they bring up something like that. I'm sorry, even if you are desensitized and you really are like, man, I've heard 3 of those today, and my man got killed yesterday. I just buried my mom. It's still a thing of manners to say, let me, even though I might not feel the weight of that, let me extend a courtesy to this person and listen to what they got on, or take an interest in that. even if you're not truly broken up about it, you have to have the ability to say, hold on, I called you and I was going to talk about the concert we going to next month, but you brought that up. We'll talk about that, and then we'll engage in that in another. I can hold that conversation with you tomorrow, in a couple of days, or something like that. And I think almost like with us losing it naturally, and I say us as a people, not myself personally, it almost needs to be a learned like it needs to be taught, because there's going to be those moments where when it's affecting you personally, because you could scroll by that stuff all day till it's your brother.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We uh, Even when you go through stuff, right? A friend of mine's dad passed recently, and his mom been so faithful to this church, right? It spent all her money in there, all that stuff. But then when it came time for the burial and everything, the way that the church was about the payments and everything for the funeral, it was kind of like this
It's
business,
business, standing on business.
right? Like it was a certain way, and we also know the people at the funeral home, they see death every day. I'm not saying that they're bad people or don't feel anything, but when they're sitting there with you and they're just like trying to, that's a part of their job. I don't want you guys to take this wrong. Like I'm saying they're actors or something. They're doing the professional coddle for you, but they're not blown away by this. They have to work with these people every day. I say that to say that it's like they live in a graveyard. We live in a graveyard digitally. When we
Mm.
scroll, we still go to other people's pages. People are on,
Woo.
you know what I'm saying? Like, rest in peace to everybody that passed. But even like recently, Philadelphia lost the rapper Fat G's. You could go to his page. If you follow him, you go to his page
I
any
went to his
day.
page and I don't even know him.
But if you did follow him, you go to his page, you can see him every day. You know what I'm saying? So you're living in that. This is the memorial. The memorials are the pages. So back to the first thing you said, it's kind of cool that you could watch the first post of that man, whatever it was, and all the fun stuff, whatever, barbecues chilling, all the way to him saying peace, y'all, because everybody don't get to say peace, y'all. You get the whole book. He put an ending on his digital footprint.
Listen, we're living in a digital graveyard. It's crazy. And that's kind of what I'm saying that I was kind of starting to feel. Back to the point, too, about the memorial. My friend Shanira, who passed away in, what year is it? 2022, excuse me. And so her birthday was just the other day. And I was okay, but then like I saw a video. So it's like the pictures, I can find balance, but it's like something about seeing that person like in a way that you're not able to experience them anymore. Like just seeing her laughing and like lifting up the drink and all of that. Like it is like, again, some of these things. So the whole conversation is around that, like what we're really consuming and taking in, and especially even for like our young people. But that threw me off a little bit where I'm like, because she's not alive. So it's like, I guess with movies, I don't feel like that. Like, for example, when Whitney Houston died, I was very distraught about that. But if I see Whitney Houston in a movie or see her, I don't feel like, but someone that I knew and I've experienced that presence, that aura, that light about them, and then not being able to see that again. I keep feeling like I'm on both sides of the benefit, the gift and the curse of the social media as it comes to death, graveyards, feelings, experiences, because it does give you that catalog, if you will, to go back. Because really, I don't have any pictures of me and Shanira and I, excuse me, shall I say. I don't have that for some people, just to the point where you end up, when you post for somebody's birthday or something, like you get to, it's like, all right, which way do I want to show you? I could just go back and look at, and I've done this plenty of times where it's like for people who are dead or alive to look and see like what picture of you do I want to post for your birthday, because this is going to forever only be the catalog if you're deceased. Mm-hmm. So now I went to go look at a picture for Shanira to post her birthday. I'm like, well, I think the first year I used this, and I found myself doing that for one of my other friends before, where I was like, this is it. It's nothing else. It's been 10 years and I don't have another selection. So it's like, it is, I don't know.
So This is interesting because I often tell people that podcasting is like a diary, right? And anybody that's watching this network, if you familiar with me, you know our shows are crazy. We talk about a whole bunch of crazy stuff and everything. And I know one day, all the crazy stories of my life, my son will one day take interest in and could watch like a diary. Like my pop was wilding, like, and we say crazy stuff on the shows and all of that. Actually, I think it's something that people should think about if you care, if you're writing the digital book of your life on your pages. We all feel like we're not going to die, kind of. And at any time you could go. I'm always sad to see a person's last post be something like negative. When I see guys like beefing, they because it's almost like a last impression. I mean, if a person is harmed in our community and they go to his page and the last thing he said was something uh with their chest poked out, they'll do that. I'll do this to somebody, like things like that. You got to really think about it. I would, if you could take some of that stuff down. Now with me, I know I'm going to have like funny, joking, crazy stuff on my page, but it does suck when the last post from somebody is something negative or something that might misrepresent who they were as a total. Like this was a moment, but it was the last moment that was on there. It's like getting in an argument with somebody before they pass.
No, that's facts. I think we used to have to worry about, at least I used to think about this anyway. If something was to happen to me, I'd be like, all right, if something happens to me today, people got to come in my house.
Yeah.
No, that's a fact. Like, they have to come here.
Yeah.
So if they going to come here and they going to be like, oh, this house is messed up, or like, oh, you were really messy or whatever. I think about things like that. Yeah. I've never really stopped to think about it. Only when I'm showing my daughter, like, my show, like on Sunday when we're watching it, but like, oh, look at mama on the show, whatever. I only thought how cool it is that she'll be able to watch these, but not necessarily when I was like dead. I just thought it would be cool for her to see that I've done this. But now you got me thinking, and probably you guys too, what's that going to be like? Because we essentially really are building that digital, not obituary, but kind of like this is the life that this person lived, or this is a version of that person. Because like you said, like with my dad, bro, I went and cleaned out his house and he had a driver's license with his picture and somebody else's completely different information. I'm like, well,
life.
That's not his name. And and I still have it because I just thought it was so funny because that's typical of my dad to do something like that. But what if it wasn't typical for somebody to see that and they're like, man, I'm never going to get to find out. What was he up to? What was he doing? So people will be left with questions. And like originally with my friend, he was able to leave a few things, which wasn't really that lengthy of a post. But for him to be like, I'm going home, like in my brain, because he was like always talking really loud, I just pictured him like that. And it's like, I don't know if it's because I don't want to say I'm afraid of death, but maybe I can say that I do have fears around it. I don't know. I'm rambling, but
my dad always like makes jokes and stuff and talks about like, it says my grandpa was the same way, you know, when they talk about going to the doctor and receiving bad news and all that, whatever stuff, my dad always says the whole like, heaven is, you know, my home thing, but I ain't homesick. Like, I'm not trying, like, he's very, no, I'm not accepting a death. No, I need as much time as possible. So with that being known, if something ever happened to my pop, that would stick with me. The idea that he did not want to go. Seeing him write something that expressed that I did what I needed to do. I restored my relationships with my kids. Whatever. I'm at a good place. That would actually mean a lot to me. So that's going back to the beginning of this conversation.
Do you think people should have those posts in a tuck?
No, because how would it be released?
I don't know. Tell somebody, be like, if something happened to me, this is the post that I want you to put up. Because they got those funny things out now where they got those memes where people are singing these crazy, inappropriate songs, like say if it's like Juvenile Back That Up or something. Because my friend sent me and my best friend, one of them, she was like, it was a funny thing, like you had a funeral and it's like, Everybody's sad and quiet. You all here for the 99 and 2000. I gotta play it. She wanted me to do it, so it was like one of those things where it's like, are you going? Are you going to do this? And on top of that, she's Muslim. So this would be terrible to just start blasting this song at the graveyard. But these are like people's wishes. So my point of it is, should we say like, this is my if it go down post and have a few people that can hit send for me? Not for me, God. I am not ready.
Listen, that's what people have in the army when they go off to war.
I never knew that. They do? I never knew that.
Yeah, a lot of times the guys have their, they'll take like a letter off of them. Like the dude's dying, they'll take a letter off of them and take it back to their family.
So they had the letter already.
Oh yeah, if you're in a hostile situation like World War II, you already know every single day you go out there, it's so random. How dudes is dropping random bombs and stuff, so everybody would have those in like their pockets, and people would like take them off of soldiers that were dead and stuff like that. And life sometimes could be like that, living in a war zone place and stuff like that. So I could see that, but that would need to be updated because relationships change all the time. Things change. You listen, last thing you want is you forgot to update your note and you changed girlfriends in the last 8 months. and that note comes out talking about the old
especially with a picture attached. That'd be brutal.
Oh, man.
That is funny because those Facebook memories and stuff, good or bad, it'd be like, oh man, like why was I even saying that? You still got pictures for all these things. I was looking with my mom, I was looking for somebody with her the other day on Facebook that she used to kind of like talk to. And this person has so many Facebook pages, this guy, that we didn't know which one was the most recent one. And then I came across one. I said, Mom, look at all these pictures of you. A page full of pictures of them still floating. This has been so long ago. I'm like, so if anybody came across this page looking for him, they think this is his girl. Because it doesn't go away. Like, who the heck is going back deleting so much stuff?
Right,
like,
yeah. It's like they put up pictures every day for the last 15, 16 years.
Every day. And my mom put up a lot of pictures. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wanted to get that conversation out because I feel like it's something that it makes you think a little bit about being conscious and cautious of just, especially when it comes to young people, and what we're consuming and what we're doing. And the last thing I really debated, guys, if I was going to even touch on this, but I really need to carve out a few minutes just to say this because rest in peace to O.J. Simpson.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, only reason why is because it really ties everything back into what we're talking about today. In the world of social media, everyone can say whatever they want, doesn't matter. If you agree, disagree, doesn't matter. When it comes to someone dying, the level of don't care, you're this, you're that, is just, there's just no barrier. So the fact that this man died, I'm not touching nothing about the guilty, non-guilty, none of that. No, it's just the fact that people are debating this right now again, and it's like literally Caitlyn Jenner is like good riddance. So again, that's a family thing. That's a lot of stuff there, but it's just when I saw that, it was like not even on a grand scheme level. I'm sure you see these things in the hood, you see these things anywhere in a community. Like if someone that was a bad person or a person that you perceived did wrong died, you could just go on and just say whatever things, and there's no regard for anybody else in their life. It's just like, this person was terrible, so I don't care. Oh, Dev died. Yeah, good. I'm glad. Like, where can I, whatever, pee on his grave? You know what I mean? Like, it was just taking me back a little bit, and I was like, man, this is really where we are.
Yeah, I saw, stuff that, Cameron had said about it because, different people are different people to different people. And whatever took place back in the 90s, whether it was him, wasn't him, whatever the case may be, the person that befriends him now, like a Cameron Mace, and they've, because for people that don't know, they resurfaced on a podcast. He was like a guest
Oh, I
host
didn't know that.
that would
Okay.
often come on there. So they built a certain relationship, and they're not basing it off of whatever allegedly happened back then. They're basing it off of however our rapport is right now, or laughs or in moments right now. And you know, he was bothered by certain things that people were saying, especially since the man was not found guilty, we should say. But like I said, I've had my own things to say when he was alive. But when that time period is over, it wasn't a personal death in my family or something like that. It's like at that point, leave it be. That is the internet, that also people being desensitized and feeling like they can say anything about anybody, but they wouldn't even say that with OJ Simpson's like kids right there. They wouldn't.
You don't think anybody would say that?
Very few people will say anything. There's some very bold people in the world, but most people, the vast majority, will just keep it to themselves. Because you could ask them, well, when's the last time you told a killer's family? There's plenty of killers in Philadelphia. Tell me the times you've told the killer's family good riddance to their death. Name the times. But you did it with the guy on the internet, the famous guy. You live in a whole town, 600 murders, which 300 to 600 murders a year. You 40 years old. Tell me how many people's family, when they died, you said that to. And they'll tell you, I never said that to anyone. So that's the proof right there.
Yeah, listen, well, thank you for tuning in. Excuse me, thank you for tuning in, but thank you for chiming in what I was trying to say on that. I just went back and forth with talking about it, but I only wanted to shed it on it briefly because, again, it just goes back to that thing where we're in a place right now where it just seems that there's not many rules, there's not many disregard, and that relationships, despite what people do, just like the people in your lives that have done wrong, people that, and it's just like, well, I mean, I don't know that version of you. I've been around people that I've heard stories about them after being around them, and I'm like, it's not possible. It's no way that you're telling me that this person did this or did that. And the last thing I'll say, when I had the conversation with Oskino, and he was like, he was in prison and he was sharing with the man, he was like, you know that you're a total different person right now. And the guy's like, what? He's like, yeah, like just scientifically based on all of the cells that you've shed and everything over the decades that you've been in prison since those murders that you committed, you're not the same. He said the guy just started crying because he's like, wow, like I'm actually really not that being anymore. And so, yeah, a lot could be said there. A lot more could be unpacked in this conversation. We're going to keep bringing these conversations to you because, again, grief is not just about death and loss in that sense. It's just about deep sorrows, and just we want to talk about our overall personal wellness, things that we're thinking about, things that we can just see from different perspectives to offer that and give you something to talk about with your family and your friends. Hey, I was watching this really dope podcast called The Grieffully and they talked about this on there, and I wanted to see what you were thinking about it. Drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts, something you want us to talk about, weigh in on. I'd be happy to do so. If you're not following this guy, go follow him at Devin Wade on all social media. And if you're not following me, I don't know what the heck you're doing. Go do that over on Instagram, where I hang out the most, at I_am_Jana Cole. Guys, so next time, you already know. Love and light. Peace.